Hi, welcome to our first episode of Earth Path Crystals. I am White Fawn, and today we're going to be discussing green opal. I have a few pieces here that I brought to show everyone. This one has a lot of the more yellowy colors to it. This green opal is more of your traditional deep green. And then we have some beautiful purpley brown inclusions in this piece right here. So let's talk about what opal is. Opal is hydrous silicon dioxide, and that is a fancy scientific way of saying that it is silicon, one of the most common substances on Earth, with a little bit of water in it. There's about 3 to 9% water that forms. This is an igneous stone, meaning that it is formed by volcanic activity or events that are related to magma, lava, and volcanic reactions. So it's a really cool stone in that it contains water, but because it's igneous, it's also very connected to fire. So if you are using stones and crystals to represent the elements on your altar or in your home, you could use this for both water or fire, depending on what your feelings are. Now, some stones that I have also brought out that are kind of related are the blue lace agate and the orca agate. These are both blue chalcedonies, and they're very connected to the water element. So there's a lot of similar feeling and kind of spiritual connection to the blue chalcedonies as there is with the green opal. Now, another thing that you should look into is terahertz. This is pure silicon, so it's a really cool stone, and that's another thing. If you like the energy in green opal, you will probably like terahertz as well. And then we can also play with things like the fossils that have been opalized. During the fossilization process, they will actually become opalized. This is a Canadian amylite. Now, these are non-crystalline. So basically what that means is there's not crystallized forms. And in nature you'll get geometric patterns and faceted kind of looking things, and that's our crystal form thing. So I brought some examples of that just to kind of give you a basic example. Crystalline would be like your quartz points. See how it looks faceted? And then we have things like fluorite. This is an octahedron. It naturally forms that way. And fluorite also forms into natural pyramid shapes. Then we have more of an etched crystalline form. This is ruby with a beautiful triangulation on it. And then the celestial quartz. Now that's a really basic, simple thing. I could go much deeper into crystalline. We have cryptocrystalline and all that, but this is just simple, quick example. Now, the cool thing about it is that it is amorphous, which means that it forms in a mass, but they found out in the 60s by taking an electron microscope on a small level, if you look at an opal, especially ones that have the fiery flashes like my amylite, that there are these rows and rows and rows of what look like little lentil beans. And what happens when light hits that, it diffracts, meaning that the light bends when it comes back out. So what you're seeing when you're seeing those flashes is interference in a light pattern. And that's what diffraction is. So that's why we get these flashes despite it not having a crystalline form. So let's talk about some of the spiritual aspects of opal. Opal is known to be uplifting, cleansing. It's great for relieving stress. It is used for astral projection, and it is used to recall information from past incarnations as well as repressed memory. So one of the things that I noticed, just experimenting, because I love to kind of experiment with my crystals, see what they do when you put them together, see what happens, is that when I put it with my terahertz, which again is silicon, I got a really kind of interfering signal. It was almost like they were fighting each other. So they didn't really like to be together, and I was curious and wondering why that is. So I did a little research on that, and what I found out was that terahertz and green opal are both stones that you can program. So a programming stone means that if you put it with another stone or crystal, it'll pick up the energy of that stone or crystal. You could also use it in a ritual setting, and you could imbue it with the energy that you're raising during that ritual. You can put it on a person and it'll pick up the energy of the person. So they were conflicting with each other and fighting because they were trying to imitate each other and they were not capable of mimicking one another. One of my clients called that a chameleon effect, which I thought was a really great comparison. Now, let's talk more about green in particular. Green opal is wonderful for new perspective, new direction. It's great for karmic lessons, for relaxation, meditation, and dream work. And in color therapy, say for instance you wanted to do an all green altar for healing, or maybe to work with the heart chakra, or even just have a little corner in your home, or even a green outfit, it imbues the area with renewal and joy. And that is a very great thing to use when you're doing color therapy with the color green. Now, a lot of different stones and crystals people do collect for display purposes, and there has been a lot of popularity with fluorescing stones and crystals lately. If you wanted to get a green opal for the purposes of adding it to your black light case and have it fluoresce, my recommendation would be one like this. As you can see, there's kind of a yellowy spot right there. That's a little softer green yellow color. And then you can see these lines and stripes right here. And it's a nice kind of green yellow. When you put that under a black light, it will fluoresce white. So it's a very, very subtle fluorescing, but it is there. And if you wanted a quality piece for that, that's what I would recommend. Now, if we're working with the stones and crystals with the chakras in our body, with the solar plexus, you can use this for new perspective, new direction, and to be uplifting. It is also a good place for astral projection work. If you were to hold a green opal to your solar plexus, this would be a good area because this is where a silver cord comes out and it connects the astral body to the physical body. So that would be my recommendation for using it for chakra work with the solar plexus. Now, if we're using it for heart work, we would use it for emotional work, more things like recalling repressed memories. And I use it personally for my work in EMDR and with trauma, because of the fact that it is good at recalling repressed memories, but also because it will help you to relax. And some of that trauma work can be very aggressive, very painful, and so the need to de-stress is definitely there. And then also for the dream work aspect, it is good for trauma because a lot of things come up in our dream realm. So when we're sleeping at night, things that our brains just can't process during the day will be there when we're dreaming, and we might have those memories come up then, and it will help to kind of ground you in that state and remember those dreams. So the other thing that people use a lot of stones and crystals for is gridding, and I really think green opal is a great stone for someone just beginning out gridding. And the reason why is because it is a stone that it creates inspiration when it is used in that way. And gridding to me is a very intuitive process. It is something where I just kind of let myself open up and I start placing my stones and crystals how I feel they should go. And you really need to kind of let go, maybe do a little research on the stones and crystals you're using so that you're evoking that kind of energy. but just relax and let your intuition make those choices. So green opal, being that it's inspiring, will help you learn how to do grid work from a very intuitive place. Now in myth, so now we're going back to the Crusades. An interesting thing about opal is that the women who were betrothed to individuals going off, crusaders and knights and things like that, they would give their sweetheart an opal as a form of protection and luck in battle. So it is used for helping a warrior in battle. And I always look for things like that because I have a lot of friends that are in the military. And so it might be a good gift for someone who is going away overseas, or they're going to, their place of training. And also in mythology, it is believed that you can use opal to become invisible. So that's just a fun little tidbit of history about it. Now, when we are looking at people who might be using stones and crystals in a career aspect, it is recommended for musicians and for dancers. This is because we get a lot of self-expression. So when our heart is capable of pulling up that repressed stuff, figuring out the new directions, the new perspectives, we get a lot of expression that can come through our art. And it is also a really great stone to connect to the audience with because it has such a deep connection with the heart chakra. Now the key words and my last note on green opal for you today is heart work, anything to do with the heart, inspiration, and relaxation. So if you just want a quick thing to remember, something that you can kind of use as a mnemonic, heart, inspiration, relaxation. Those are great keywords for you to remember with green opal. And I hope that you find many uses. I'd love to hear what any and all of you are doing with your stones and crystals, whether it be green opal or anything else. Please drop me a line in the comments, and I'll see you next time.